Welcome to A Bridge Podcast, hosted by Nard and produced by Alphonse and King Roach. On this show, we will discuss all topics that range from sports, entertainment, and the lifestyles that shape our lives. None of this would be possible without the support of our family and loved ones. Follow us on abridgepodcast.com. Welcome to A Bridge Podcast. We're back. The big three is in the building. Pat, what's up, baby? King Roach, what's going on?
Ain't nothing much, bro. Everything's the same.
Yeah, great feelings. Always good to be back in the lab.
Happy to be back.
Huh?
Happy to be back, man.
You already?
Happy to be back.
Tell you people all the time, man, we bring you the guests, man. The people everybody want, but everybody can't get to. Thank God for Pat Rolodex, you dig? You know, that Rolodex is where it's at. Today we bring you basketball royalty. I'm talking the winningest coach in the PSAL. That's the New York City PSAL. The toughest league in the country. You dig? At one time, the game has changed now. You know, I'm talking 850 wins, man. Like, that's like Coach K Wooden stuff there, man. You know, we got Mr. Ron Naclerio in the building. You heard? Welcome, Coach. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. You know, looking and seeing who's in the room. I feel 30 years younger because I remember dealing with some of the people in this room when they were 30 years younger and seeing how well they're doing in life is great.
I was damn near 14 years old.
That's right.
Yeah. Now what are you, 15?
Yeah.
Been a long year. Oh, that's the pandemic year. Sorry.
Yeah, no doubt. I like to say 2020 plus one, because when you say 21, it's like if 21, and we can't let that year be relevant. Like, I mean, it's going to be relevant because of what transpired, man, but we're all here. You're here, and no season for you guys, right?
Well, we're praying that somehow the powers to be in the city, Mayor de Blasio, the school's chancellor, lets us do what they're doing in Long Island, Westchester, and 48 out of the 50 states.
Wow.
They're getting a season in. Not the correct season, but 8 or 10 or 12 or 14 games is better than no season.
Right.
One of the things is the powers to be, myself and so many of the other coaches in New York that care about their kids. What's going to happen when June comes and no seniors that are definitely good enough to get a scholarship, or the seniors that are borderline to get a scholarship?
Right, and it's nothing available for them.
What are we going to do?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, this is a year that it started 2020 in the spring.
Right.
But when 2020 in the fall, it's going to go 2021 in the spring to the summer. And, you know, the people have to find a way. The coaches are going to have to get together, and I'm going to make a lot of phone calls. But we're not going to be able to help every kid get to that next level. And that's really, really sad that, you know.
Yeah, like it was taken away from beyond their control, right?
Not only is it taken away from beyond their control, what about when the pandemic seems to be a thing of the past? Everyone takes the vaccine, and wait a second, I haven't been seen by colleges. I didn't apply to college. I'm not going to college.
Yeah.
What am I doing? You know, and this isn't just
a different reality kicks in.
This isn't just basketball. This is girls' basketball. I mean, not just boys' basketball. It's football. It's baseball. It's
track and field. Yeah.
How do kids get to that next level when there is no level to climb up? So it's a problem that I want to be a part of hopefully solving. We're not going to be able to salvage all the kids. And what's really scary is that there are kids getting obituaries before they're getting high school diplomas.
Yeah, that's rough.
We
live in a real violent society, and now it's like there's no resolve. Like it's a shortage of, from my perspective, I really feel it's a shortage of quality leaders. You know, like the coaches, like yourself, Hirsch, Mr. Lloyd, Doc, like you guys, like Gil Reynolds, like you guys really you're still there, you're still relevant, you can still walk in the room and command the room.
Well, you know what? I thanks for the nice thing, but the people that you mentioned me with and myself, we realize we're not doing this for money, we're doing it out of love. And when you see a kid that has 2 strikes on him, and he's walking up to the plate with a toothpick, and he's facing the Cy Young Award winner, you realize there are a lot of kids like that, and there are coaches that have been in that situation and managed to get out, and we want to be there to get those kids, because if we can't help the youth grow into productive members of society, New York City is a place that there was a movie, Escape from New York.
Oh yeah,
and it's getting ugly out there. I mean, you know, when you were growing up, I know there were people might not have liked the police, but there was the local cop that might have helped some kids. But now, you can walk right up to a cop and punch him in the face.
Yeah, this shit different.
And I've seen that. I saw that on Terrence Monahan's Twitter page. Terrence Monahan is the highest ranking police officer in New York. The number 2 highest ranking police officer in uniform is Rodney Harrison. Rodney Harrison is chief of detectives. He graduated from Cardozo in 1980. He played for me. So I get that perspective.
Right.
And, you know, if a person is going to walk right up to a cop and punch him in the face, you know what they're going to do
to a regular civilian.
To a regular, especially if there's something they want.
Right.
And right now, college recruiters are not coming into New York.
Yeah,
and
it's been bad for New York for a while.
Yeah, but what makes it worse is the gangs are coming in and recruiting,
right.
And the gangs are getting a lot of national letter of intents that are really scary because, you know, I had a kid that I don't want to. Once you get into a gang, you're not leaving a gang by saying, "Here's $2 I owe you," and get lost.
Yeah, right.
You're not getting out, and it is bad, man. I mean. That's a whole nother discussion about how we can help in New York.
Was your first love, like you grew up here in New York, right?
Grew up right near Cardozo High School, Bayside, Queens.
Bayside. Had a nice girlfriend on Bayside, like right off of Northern.
White girl?
Black girl, white tendencies though.
No, I just all right. You know,
now, but like your first love, like growing up in Queens, was your first love basketball?
Well, when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, all sports was your love.
Yeah.
Because in the spring you played baseball, summer you played baseball. The fall you played football, the winter you played basketball.
Okay.
There was no year round like it is now. And that's what I did.
Okay.
And in a way I think it was great because if you put so much pressure on you to be a great baseball player, you know, after a couple of months or you had your parents working with you to become a great baseball player, the fall would come, hey, now it's football, a whole different thing. But all the sports, all of the athletic movements are all intertwined. Mm-hmm. Yes, football, you might need to lift weights and be stronger. Right. Basketball, you need quickness.
Yeah, calisthenics.
You know, and baseball is great. Now, one of the things that I'm a little disappointed in, if baseball was still a decent inner city sport here, how many kids, 5'9", 5'10", born average, that had dreams of playing in the NBA that are really nightmares because they have no chance of playing in the NBA, could play baseball? Willie Randolph, Tilden High School. Phil Rizzuto, 5'6", Richmond Hill High School.
Right.
2 great hitters from George Washington High School, Manny Ramirez, Rod Carew. Yeah. My roommate in college, a 5'9" lefty out of Lafayette, Johnny Franco.
The other kid from Christ the King, the pitcher.
Steve Carsey and Alan Watson. And Sean Dunston, the first pick. Sean Dunston, the first pick in the 1984 draft.
Out of
Jefferson. The 4th pick that year was a pitcher for the Mets by Dwight Gooden. Yeah. And how about this? The greatest first baseman that ever played baseball from the Yankees, who had in his speech, Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of this earth. Lou Gehrig.
Wow.
Went to Commerce High School, which is now Brandeis High School.
Wow.
So there's crazy. So much history in all sports.
That's rough. I always ask baseball people this question because like I like all sports. So as a baseball fan, actually, bench one, start one, cut one.
Wow.
Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew, Ichiro.
Oh, come on. That's like saying I got 3 wives and I have to get rid of 2 of them. No, I'm just saying, because, you know, I appreciate greatness.
Right.
You know, what Ichiro did coming over here at such an age and still managing to get 3,000 hits is incredible.
Indeed.
And playing baseball, what Tony Gwynn was ridiculous.
Right.
He hit great pitching. I mean, he had a .338 batting average.
His lifetime?
Lifetime. Wow. See, you know, when you start
That's
seeing a guy,
Hall of Fame,
when you see guys hit 320, 330 1 year, that's awesome. But he did it for a career. Rod Carew was flirting with 400. He hit 388 that year. Rod Carew had the greatest wrist you've ever want to see. He would change his stance based on the pitching, lefty, righty.
I was reading a book by the umpire who killed himself. I can't remember his name.
Oh, gee, I don't know.
But anyway, it was against the A's who were playing against Oakland. Oakland was playing against the Angels, and game was on a lot like game 6 or 7, and Raleigh Fingers throws like a corner seam joint, but the umpire calls a ball. Billy Martin goes crazy, and when he finishes tirade, the ump looks at Billy Martin. This is in the book. The ump looks at Billy Martin and he says, "If Rod Carew doesn't swing at it, it's not a strike."
Rod Carew had the greatest eye.
Right. So you gotta love. You playing all sports. You playing all sports. Like, did you have a favorite, or you just loved whatever was in season?
I loved what was in season, but as you get a little older, you start realizing, football became less because one, I didn't want to break my neck, and I wanted to be healthy to play basketball. Because, that's the one scary thing about football.
Yeah.
You could be the greatest guy, you can be the most in shape, the strongest guy. One guy hits you when you least see it, or a block from nowhere. All of a sudden, a concussion. You could be paralyzed. There are people I've seen.
Like the Shazier kid from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And the kid from Rutgers.
The tackle by Lawrence Taylor on Joe Theismann, career ending.
And then playing basketball, I was young and dumb. I thought I was going to make the NBA, but I realized NBA is no boys allowed, and I was a boy. And
no doubt.
But baseball, as I got older.
What position did you play?
Center field.
Center field.
I like
a lot of ground.
Well, two-thirds of the world is covered by water. The other third by me.
By you.
That's how much range I had in the outfield.
That's what's up. Oh, you played baseball in high school?
I was all city for Cardozo High School.
Oh, so Cardozo's just...
I went to Cardozo. When I do die, they'll probably bury me somewhere, in the gym, in Cardozo. But, you start realizing when you get older, and listen, my father being a heart and lung surgeon was bright. My mother graduated from Columbia. She was bright. So they tried to make me bright. And, you're not playing in the NBA. Baseball's still a long shot. Go to college if you're good enough after you play high school. Then who knows? If you're
that
good,
system, that baseball system, like A, double A, triple A, stuff like that. So like at Cardozo, numbers wise, like what'd you do? Do you have were you a percentage hitter? Like
Well, what happened was I was lucky. I had a great baseball coach named Ed Tateri, and he's still alive.
God bless him.
And he took a liking to me. They had the vacation day camps then throughout the city. So I stopped going to Shibley Day Camp when my parents sent me because I wanted to go to vacation day camp. Well, all we did was play baseball or basketball.
Right.
And he started working with me, 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old. I went to Cardozo. As a 10th grader, I went to junior high as a 9th grader. And tryouts, I was one of 4 sophomores to make it. I also made the JV basketball team, and he worked with me. And he put me on the soccer team, too. He was also the soccer coach because I was fast. I did the 60 and 6.38. And junior year, I started. Sophomore year, I ended up starting middle of the year.
Okay.
And I screwed up. And I learned the lesson. I went from starting to farting. That meant I was on the bench.
Sitting on that pine, huh?
And it hurt me because
He was playing tailback on the baseball team?
we managed to get to Yankee Stadium, 1973, playing George Washington High School. And the kid that played took my place, misjudged 2 fly balls, and we lost the game.
Wow.
Whereas if I didn't screw up, I would have had them. Oh, I would have had it,
You
man.
made them catches. Okay.
Would have had them, and we would have won. But
that's hard out there in center field, like judging them shots, man.
Yeah, I know, but it was amazing. We played before the Yankees, Detroit Tigers, and I remember Jim Northrup and Willie Horton came into the dugout. Willie Horton came in without his jersey on. I was in awe. I never saw a human being that big and that strong. Willie Horton made Hulk Hogan look like a Biafran refugee.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I was like You know, but he came over, he goes, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "Jackie Gleason and Honeymoon, So he started talking, but he ended up rooting for us, and we lost a heartbreak, and, you know, he saw how bad we
It's
took
funny,
it.
It's funny you say the Tigers, because I just asked this question to my baseball guys today at work. I said, Trammell Whitaker or UL Washington and Frank White?
Ooh, I would have to say Trammell Whitaker.
Trammell Whitaker,
Yeah,
everybody
that's
says
tough.
that. Tough combination.
I know,
Dudes turn that double.
Yeah, I know.
See, Pat and them don't know I know this baseball
Yeah,
like that. They
baseball,
don't know I know these
See that,
sports
I see
like
that.
that.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I respect all sports, because to
Yeah,
be great at
And
a sport is hard. Now,
Yeah, indeed.
you know, I've seen some guys that have been great at a couple sports, like a Bo Jackson,
Right.
football and baseball, Deion Sanders, baseball and football.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Dave Winfield, the only guy I know that's ever been drafted by 3 professional teams,
Wow.
baseball, basketball, football. There's a guy that I became friendly with on the Last Dance.
Jim Brown played all 3 too, right? Jim Brown played lacrosse,
Well, lacrosse,
basketball,
yeah,
and football.
yeah,
of
but you know,
course.
we didn't consider
Right.
lacrosse as one of the 3 major sports. But Jim Brown was ungodly.
yeah.
But a guy I became very friendly with, that Michael Jordan was abusing on the Last Dance, Scotty Burrell.
Scott Burrell.
Scotty
Yeah,
Burrell
from UConn,
was
right.
Scotty Burrell has done
He's a
something.
baseball player, right?
He was a first round draft pick in baseball and a first round draft pick in basketball. Now,
Wow.
when you start talking first round draft picks in 2 sports, you were
He's
BMF.
special.
Bad mother.
He
Watch
just-
your mouth.
Yeah, he just was getting punished in practice.
Right now,
Right.
Scotty Burrell is about to run this basketball league with some girls.
Did not know that.
Castle organization is about to be run by Scotty.
Castle Hill,
Castle.
and up in uptown.
Right now, Castle, they out of Brooklyn.
Okay.
Well, Scotty's a Division II coach right now. I'm trying to get him to take one of my players,
that's
Aaron
what's
Miller, whose father is Floyd Miller, who you might have played against. Floyd Miller's son played for me last year, 6'7" kid, going to be very, very good.
You like, were there any other options before, other than Cardozo, or you was just headed
No,
to the
you go to that's when you go to your zone school.
your zone school?
You know, there was, you know, that was it. But you know what? If I would have, I probably would have went to a school like Archbishop Malloy, because
Okay.
that's where some of the kids that were good in baseball and basketball went to. But I just, you know, I started
Coach
off in,
Curran coached both, right?
yes,
Yes. Wow.
yes.
Another great.
We played against them in baseball.
Okay.
In fact, one of the games that my coach, like I said, was a great coach. We played the toughest non-league schedule. We played all the Catholic schools, and we had a beautiful field. So, like a school like Powell Memorial
Right.
had no school, no field,
No field.
being in the city. So they would come to us, and we would play a game. And the third base coach, the guy that was the coach of Powell Memorial, who coached third when they were up,
Right.
was Brendan Malone, who
Wow.
coached in the
No,
NBA
NBA coach.
for the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. So, you know, that's how I got to know Brendan way back from 1973, 74, 75. So we're going way back. And now his son, Mike Malone, is the head coach of the Denver Nuggets.
Nice. So, like at Cardozo, your senior year, how did it end for you guys?
Oh, and junior year we lost in the game to get to the chip. Senior year we were supposed to be really, really good. We lost to Eli Whitney that had a lefty, Gus Nunez. He threw meatballs, but unfortunately, our bats were like spaghetti that day. You know, I remember leading off with a bunt single, but we lost. But I hit 438. I hit a couple of homers. I was
Nice.
tough. And, you know, I had Arizona State looking at me, had a lot of schools, but I was a homeboy. I didn't want to leave New York, and I ended up going to Manhattan College.
Okay.
And after 3 days,
That's Jaspers, right?
Manhattan Jaspers.
Right.
After 3 days, and I was lucky that year, Manhattan started, instead of starting after Labor Day, started before Labor Day.
Okay.
And after 3 days, there was something about it. I didn't want to be there. And my father went to St. John's, met the coach, Joe Russo, and I actually transferred. I actually transferred after 3 days.
Wow.
And even though I was allowed to play, 3 days.
My man said, "I'm out of here."
Outta here. You know what? See, I also realized I had a chance to be a great baseball player because
They would've
I
wrote you.
played in a couple of tournaments. The Detroit Tigers offered to sign me out of high school. The New York Mets were going to possibly sign me, but my parents said, "No way, you're going to college." And if
that
after
paperwork
college,
was important.
and that was good. And then a baseball guide came out that Manhattan was putting all their laurels on me to help guide them. So I said, wait a second. So I realized Manhattan, that's when I started learning, even though Manhattan was D1, they were lower level D1, they played their games in Van Cortlandt Park.
Wow.
You know? Now if you play your games in Van Cortlandt Park, you have to, run around the winos and the guys sleeping in the grass.
Jump over the residents.
Yeah. So the guy in short center field who moved in, where do I live? Short center field, Van Cortlandt Park. But I transferred to St. John's and big time program, and I met so many great guys.
Redmond.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I had to fight though. I mean, let me ask you, I was lucky as a sophomore that I was the designated runner. I ran for the catcher, a lot of stolen bases. I played once in a while, and I remember we made it to the Northeast Regional Championship game to get to the College World Series, and the next day I was in a lineup. I'm like, wow, I'm in a lineup in the game to go. I think I was 1 for 4 or 2 for 4. I got a stolen base. We lost to Temple. And my junior year, I ended up starting. And what a year it was.
Nice.
What a year it was. It was great bunch of guys. We had a bunch of guys that are so different than the kids today. The kids today do a little and expect a lot.
Right, but they wanted it.
Well, we did a lot hoping to get a little. If I went 2 for 3, I was hoping I'd be in the lineup the next day.
Right.
These kids go 2 for 3. They want to know how come they're not going first round. We got kids like, I hit 2 threes in a row. How come Duke and Mike Krzyzewski's not offering me a scholarship?
Yeah.
It doesn't go like that. But we started off the season on a spring trip to Georgia.
A lot of these kids that's playing ball right now in New York City need to take the OSHA class because all these fuckers going to work construction.
The what class? That's
OSHA class. They're fucking shooting.
Yeah, so I remember we were there. We had a great road trip. We're playing in North Carolina. We're playing against Georgia. They had the quarterback Jeff Piber, and it was awesome. And we came back 9-2 or 8-3. Really, really good. In fact,
nice.
We got a lead. We were 8-1, and we lost 2 games to Old Dominion, working our way up. And remember, we started off that trip in Daytona Beach, the Montreal Expo camp. And I remember the night before, I had a little too much to drink.
Okay, college kid.
And
sipping.
yeah, we're out in the field bright in the morning.
What was the drink back then? What was he drinking back then?
I don't even know. I just drank it. But I remember
pink champagne.
We had practice on the field. We were sharing with the Montreal Expos, and I walked in there into the locker room and I vomited. And Andre Dawson and Warren Cromartie say, hey kid, you had a little too much last night. So I went like this because I didn't want my coach. But thank God, that was like the last time I would drink and do something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But what was funny is I ran into Andre Dawson years later.
Okay.
And he remembered me.
Wow.
When I told him, he goes, you were the little kid. And I told him what happened, and so it's funny. But we had a great year. We ended up the first team in Northeast baseball history to win 40 games. Because, you weren't playing
that
baseball.
Was your junior year or senior
my
year?
Junior year.
Junior year, okay.
My junior year, I ended up, we get to the College World, the playoffs, the Northeast Regionals. There were 6 teams. We were the only 6-team regional, and we were winning in the bottom of the 9th. Ron Perry, who played Holy Cross baseball and basketball. Ron Perry got drafted by the White Sox later. He averaged 20 a game, got drafted by the NBA team. He hit a home run, and we lost 5-4.
Wow, heartbreak.
A heartbreaker.
God.
And now here we are in the losers bracket, and we had to win 6 games in 2.5 days to do it. And we did. And now here we are, our arch rivals, Temple.
Again.
We beat them. Now we force the winner-take-all to go to Omaha. And they have Pete Filson, who ended up pitching for the New York Yankees on the mound. We were down 3-0. And I still remember the inning. What happened? It was the bottom of the 5th. College games are 9 innings, not 7. It's bottom of the 5th. 3-0 became 3-1, became 3-2. I hit a single with a man on second to make it 3-3.
Nice.
Pete Filson had a great pickoff move. Lefty, I left on first movement To throw to second, I would have beat. It nicked me in the back. Went into left center. I got to third. Tommy Hayes hit a fly ball, left center, tagged up. It was now 4-3 us. Then it was 8-3 us. And we won 14-14. And boy, I tell you, that was one of the greatest things. You know, I won a city championship as a coach.
Wow,
3
that's
times,
dope.
twice as a head coach, once as an assistant coach. Getting to the World Series was great. The World Series is awesome now.
And
the College World Series.
and that's your junior year.
Yeah, my junior year. We got to the World Series. I think we were 2-2 or something like that. We lost to the Arizona State. They had Bob Horner, UB Brooks. Bob Horner was the first pick in the draft that year. And 2 weeks after the World Series, signs with the Atlanta Braves,
Nice.
goes straight to the majors. And signing with the Braves and starting a major league season in late June, wins Rookie of the Year in the major leagues. The following year, we lost the heartbreaker. The game to go there to University of Connecticut, there was a lot of luck with the rain because there were rain delays. We couldn't save our pitcher. They had a pitcher, 6'8" kid throwing about 99. They saved. But I was really lucky that I was going to play basketball that year as last man on St. John's. And Coach Carnesecca, who's like an uncle to me, and we still, you know, take him out. We take him for his
No, the sweater.
Louis, we take out every year for his birthday.
Nice.
God
bless.
This year we couldn't do it, but we called him. We can't wait till the pandemic is over because he
Right,
turned
God
90,
bless.
turned 96,
I was
January
a
5th.
Huge St. John's fan, like Mark, Mike,
Oh, those
Walt
guys.
Berry, Billy Goodwin,
Yeah.
Willie Glass, like that
Yeah.
mob. I wasn't a Shelton Jones fan. I always thought he was a scrub.
Amityville, Long Island, you know.
Amityville. All of them Long Island.
So it ends up-
trash, you know. So
I-
it's just crazy.
You know, it's funny. I always wore number 3,
It's Boo
in
Harvey
high
number.
school.
Another Queens kid.
and I wore 10. Well, Boo Harvey's mad because he was supposed to come to
I
Cardozo.
should have went to Cardozo.
His older brother, Michael Harvey, went to Cardozo.
Okay.
I would have had a few more wins.
Nice.
You know,
yeah.
and I teased Boo, if he would have came to Cardozo and played for me, you would have played in the NBA instead of doing what Hurst said, go to Belgium. But here we are. I was dying to be on the St. John's team, dying, because the year before we
But
played
your
so.
numbers, just to double
my
back,
number-
your
my
numbers,
number-
baseball numbers your senior year.
My number senior was number 8.
No, I mean like your stats, like how
Oh,
did
well,
you do
well,
stats?
this is what happened. My junior year, I hit 350. I mean, I have the stats. Led the nation in stolen bases my senior year, but
Nice.
my senior year, what happened was I wanted to play on the team as the walk-on. But Coach Carnesecca and Coach Russo knew that I was nominated for the USA baseball team.
Nice.
And that would mean 2 weeks of December and 3 weeks of January would not conflict with school. I would be down in Florida for 5 weeks. So they wanted me to, you know, just even though we had fall baseball, to continue. And Coach Carnesecca goes, Ron, you have a chance in baseball. I'm not going to kill your chances by putting you on the basketball team. And I went down there, and Walt Widmeyer, the director of scouting for the Chicago White Sox, saw me and drafted me.
Nice.
And if it wasn't for that, I might not have been
Salute to
drafted.
Ron, baby.
You know,
White Sox.
and
That's what's up. That's big.
That was such an honor to get drafted by a team. And then here I am. My senior year is over. I cried because I didn't go, you know, to the World Series. But when I got that
What is
call,
that like to be drafted?
you know, well,
It's the White Sox right there.
no, it's. Well, you know, what a great feeling, because most people thought it was very hard to go to a cold city and get drafted by a Major League Baseball team, especially if you were average size. I was 5'10". I was really, really quick.
You was 5'10"?
5'10". I still am 5'10".
still 5'10",
Unless I
okay.
shrunk.
Okay.
You know, but you know, it seemed like other parts of the country, just like in basketball, you know, if you play basketball in California, it seems like that kid who would be a D2 kid in New York is getting a lot of D1 offers.
Right.
And to prove my
Theory.
theory
Gotcha.
is that so many kids, and Pat Alphonse would say, so many kids went to JUCO in California or
And
out
they have
west.
their own, and they have
that-
their own JUCO.
that-
It's not. They don't even compete like with
Yeah.
Texas and
Yeah,
Kansas. And
but
stuff
but
like
that would D2 in New York, and all of a sudden got a lot of D1 offers out there.
Right.
And so,
It's
I
like
had a,
it's like Texas. There's so many schools in California, so they bound to land in the D1. It's like Texas.
So-
When I was in school in Texas because I went to Tyler.
Tyler Junior College.
I played with Coach Thomas out there, and I learned being out there that the whole Southwest Conference was in the state of Texas.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yo, that freaks me out. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, you crazy? Like,
You
every
don't
school-
realize how big
Yeah.
the state of Texas
Texas
is.
is huge.
So, but I was lucky. I got drafted, and the White Sox sent me to the New York Penn League, Niagara Falls, and I got up there, and there was a young guy, about 22 years old. I was only 21. He was an administrative assistant for the White Sox. And I got to know him a little, and I'm playing with the White. I did very, very well in the New York Penn League. I made all New York Penn League, led the team in stolen bases. I made all New York Penn Leagues, broke Omar Moreno's stolen base
Omar
record.
Moreno.
Omar Moreno, because
The
then it
Pirates.
was Niagara Falls Pirates. Then it became Niagara
Right,
Falls
he
White
used to
Sox.
play for the- he used to
But
play for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
the administrative assistant who moved, ended up being a general manager for several teams, Dave Dombrowski
Wow.
of the Detroit
It's crazy.
Tigers.
I liked Moreno and Kent Jacoby.
Tentacovi.
Having the Pirates because they had the dope hats.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Willie Starr and had them all.
And then, you start playing, you start moving around, you get invited to instructional league, you're playing in the Glens Falls, you're going to Edmonton, and, unfortunately,
It's a lot
19.
of work to become a baseball player.
Yeah, you got to work. And
Yeah.
I took it diligently, and I started, every day when I was home working on my game. And then unfortunately, I'm playing in a game, collision at the plate, the catch of shin guards, my ankle bent, ripped the ligaments off my ankle.
Wow.
Tried to come back, and I did come back. And like an
Just wasn't
idiot,
the same.
there was a play in an instructional league game. I lost the fight
Right.
with the wall.
With the wall,
I
yeah.
dove into the
That
wall,
usually happens.
and
Messed up that collarbone.
here I am, my ligaments again. I stretched or ripped, and I didn't realize that stretching or ripping ligaments
Was worse than
is
breaking
worse
an
than
ankle.
breaking an ankle.
Breaking a bone. You're
And
right.
then once you start hurting your main asset, like if you were a pitcher throwing 99, and all of a sudden you start hurting your arm, they kind of sour on you. But
And how many years did you play with the White Sox total?
I ended up playing 3 years with the White Sox. Al Goldis, after I got hurt, picked me up with the California Angels, and I played with the Angels. But after getting hurt and realizing
weren't
that
the
it was gonna be
same.
hard, and then basketball became my first.
Became your love,
I
your
became
priority.
I became addicted. I
Okay.
became addicted.
Okay, it's definitely
You know?
addictive. It's definitely an addictive thing. Like it's like I loved it. Pat loved it. Like most everybody that we're around loved it. Like the game and plus also too it takes you so many places.
Oh yeah.
It takes you in a lot of neighborhoods you probably wouldn't visit.
I also ended up teaching at IS8, and everybody's heard of IS8.
Right.
When I
Win your
first,
name, not your game.
Yeah,
Win your
you
game,
know-
not your name.
so here I am substituting at Cardozo, coaching. Thinking I'm gonna get a college
and that's
job.
your next move from baseball. Your
Well,
next move
now
from
I'm
baseball?
So now I'm coaching
Okay.
Cardozo. The first year I coached Cardozo, I still went back with the California Angels.
Okay.
But how I got the job at Cardozo, Al Maddock, and may he rest in peace. He would be on the Mount Rushmore of Cardozo. Great coach. Learned a lot from him. He looked just like Don Rickles. Funny as Don Rickles. He saw something in me that I might not have even seen in myself. He wanted me to coach. And a couple of times when I was assistant coach with him, he said, Ron, I'm going to let you coach today. I'm going to let you coach today. And he told me when I took over, Ron, that's why I let you take over. So that you would
Passing
see
the reins.
Yeah, passing the reins, but
All right,
see
that's
what you really
dope.
like and how would you would do. And
Salute to coach.
one of the things that I learned from him is he told me, he goes, Ron, you're going to have two things that are going to be hard when you coach. One, most of the players that play for you are not going to play as hard as you did as a basketball player, because I was the all-time Pete Rose in the basketball court. He goes,
Smart man.
and he goes, that's going to hurt
Charlie
you.
Hustle.
And then he said that as good as you are, if the players don't give it your all,
Yeah. They're never gonna let him in the hole,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
P. Roach.
he just, you know what? He bet on his team to win,
Right.
you know.
He bet his team.
But
to win.
it ended up, he also said, you know, it comes down to, you know, sometimes, you know, the referee, and I realized that. But one of the things he taught me is, Ron, you can't curse. You know, maybe one time you slip in and practice a curse, so you got to find something else. So if you go to a game now and you hear me yell out, "Hey, you pineapple!"
You cursing.
That's me cursing. You know, the crowd goes, "Hey," they start laughing. "Hey, he called him a pineapple." But you know what? That's what I do, you know. But, you know, and I had my spiel. I started, you know, you can't grab a kid and wring his neck,
Right.
you know, so.
No Bobby Knight.
Yeah, no Bobby Knight. So now if I chase after a kid with a chair, I'll purposely make sure I miss when I throw the chair.
Right. And how long have you been coaching total at Cardozo?
40 years
Wow.
as the HNIC.
There you go.
HNIC, head Naclerio in
There
charge.
you go. You
Oh, you thought I was going to say the other thing? Come on, man. Come on, man.
This is an adult show.
Nah, man, you know, I don't.
Nah, but you know, it's like when you got love and respect for people, it's so different. Like I've watched you on the sidelines. I watched you on the sidelines for years, and I'm like, wow, yo, this dude like is really like.
He's nuts.
He's
He's
nuts.
intense.
He's nuts.
The
You know what I
games.
mean?
I tell you this. The games start.
However, all his kids are being taught. Yeah. They're being taught. Like I used to go to OCP with 40 and 20
wow.
and all in Marks
OCP,
Park, you know.
Marks
I call
Park.
it Marks Park, you know.
Yeah.
OCP and play.
Mason used to come there. Anthony would come
Right,
there.
yeah, and
I hate to say it. That was Anthony Mason
Yeah.
BS
Yeah.
before steroids, because
Yeah.
Anthony got so big, man. I don't know how I don't know if you could go to Jack LaLanne and do what he did, because he was really skinny, and all of a sudden he was Hulk
He
Hogan.
buffed up, you know. But Queen's always been tough, you know, and like you, like you know, like you, like with your office, like at the school, like I got like we do our homework here too.
No.
We do our homework here too.
I had a shrine of an office. You know what? It was a room outside the AP's room, and you know, I started putting stuff in there. I shared it with a lacrosse coach who ended up passing away, and every coach uses it. You know, one locker would be the football guy stuff, one locker would be the volleyball, one would be the baseball, one would be the JV baseball. But I started putting pictures on the cabinets. Next thing you know, the cabinets have full with pictures. Next thing you know, I started putting it on the one or two windows. Then I started putting it on the walls. Then Joe Cavallo, who was the AP and retired, said, "What are you going to do when you run out of room? Use the ceiling?" And I used the ceiling.
Wow.
And
That's what's
that
up.
was the most. Oh, I mean, that's like walking down the street and somebody stabbing me in the heart. That,
Right.
you know, the office is not there anymore, by the way.
Well, they try
The
to.
principal who came in said she needed it for an ROTC program.
ROTC.
And I was a little disappointed because they are building an annex at Cardozo that should be done in about a year and a half from now. That the ROTC program is going to move there, but that office was a shrine. I mean, everyone heard about it. Everyone was there.
Could that be
the kids
like
were
just
the kids were dying to have their pictures on there. The pictures on that wall, and then what made it so bad was behind me, about 3 feet wide from the floor to the top, was the Martin Luther King wall. And everything was a Martin Luther King picture, a letter from Martin Luther King, pictures of his family, pictures of my father with Martin Luther King.
Your dad has history with Dr. King.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that, you know, but I gotta, the office is still killing me.
Ah.
It still is killing me.
Was that a power trip with the assistant principal?
No, it was the principal.
Or the
No,
principal?
it was
Was
the
it a
principal.
power trip really more so because
If it's
the office gets so much love?
You know what?
Didn't the news coverage?
Yeah, it was on Channel 2, it was on Channel
Channel 2,
4,
yeah, I remember that.
it was on USA Today, it was on the New York Post, a couple articles. Was it a power trip? Listen, whatever type of trip it was, it just kills me that office is not there.
Right.
Maybe one day I will get a chance to rebuild that office.
Right.
It would hurt me to try to do it, and I would never compare losing my office to the World Trade Center. I would never do that. You know, what happened at 9/11 with the World Trade Center, but they rebuilt that. And, you know, with the custodians taking a lot of the stuff down, that would be something that I would love to do. I mean, a lot of people were so disappointed that it wasn't, and I didn't notice that there were certain things or certain buildings that become a shrine, that become like what they call landmark status.
Right.
And I was told that people behind the scenes were gonna try to make it landmark status, because I'll tell you this, if you walked into that room, that was the greatest room. You can YouTube it, you can, I mean, there is nothing I've ever seen. And, you know, unfortunately, the principal thought that she needed it, you know, and
Right.
who am I to buck heads with her? But it hurt. It hurt. And if it is a power trip and I find out, that would crush me beyond,
I can imagine.
you know? But hey, what can you do?